Hello, everyone, and welcome to ROG Pulse, your weekly show behind the scenes. My brain stopped working. Very good. Yes, go me. Your weekly look into the behind the scenes here at the Republic of Gamers. Yes, excellent.
You almost said the old intro, didn't you?
You know,
That intro's like a year old.
my brain just stopped. Like, it just was like, I'm a politician on stage that can't think. That was me for a second, right? We've all been there.
We've all been politicians on stage before.
I have.
That's
All
fun
right.
fact. Actually, I have been before. This is a very weird story. One time I went to University of Michigan, but I grew up outside of Detroit, so I was like 40 minutes away from where I grew up, and I was still registered to vote where I grew up, and so I had to drive back home to vote.
Tragic.
And when I got there, my mom was like, there are, it's like 4 candidates or something, or 4 slots for county or like district delegates for the county convention, but there were only 3 candidates. So I got everyone in the family to write you in, and I won. So then I was a district delegate for our county for like a year.
What?
You had to go to meetings? You were like a county supervisor?
Yeah, it wasn't great. I didn't love it, but it is a really funny story.
Thanks, Mom.
That's
I'm a
legend.
politician now.
See, I've been a politician too. You just didn't know about it.
Yep.
No, I don't have a cool story like you. Guys, today we're hanging out and talking about our favorite Ally X games, as the Ally X did launch this week. So it's going to be a bit of a change in terms of what the traditional format, I guess, of what Pulse is. In fact, this is the first time we've had a trio on in a while. I think we might have done a trio like maybe once, like last December, but it's been a hot minute since we did kind of one of these more bantery, just kind of 3 lads rather than 2 lads chilling and chatting. And in fact, I was debating playing games on my Ally X and stream like while we did this today, but I left it on my nightstand. It's not, I went to go grab it to hold it up, and it's not even here.
Like a noob. I got mine.
Fraudulent. There it is.
Go.
Actually, wait a second. My Ally X that I've been using, I'm sending to Lane.
I was going to say, Lane, where's your Ally X? Show us.
I didn't know.
Or are you a
it was
fraud?
gonna be in the mail soon.
And,
That's a happy little accident.
And I can just do this right now. Just open this box. We can do a live.
You're going to
unboxing.
open the box that you just packed?
No, this is the new one.
You just got your new one. Okay.
Yeah.
My retail unit came on like Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. I just reset my pre-production sample, and I'm going to send it to Robert.
Yeah.
So we'll all have one.
Nice.
The whole team, all 4 members of the team with an Ally X, the dream. Yeah, this is my retail unit. They
How many ROG Ally unboxings can we do on this channel? Like, I feel like we've already unboxed like multiple Ally X's.
Welcome to Pulse. As
is it going to be different this time?
Ally.
How consistent are we? Man, I should have brought a knife. I brought a Allen wrench to a knife fight. Like,
seeing people in chat saying, "I'm loving my Ally X so far." Yay, that's good to hear, guys. Can you make the overlay only showing the battery percentage? I can send that feedback on. I don't want them to make too many overlays, because then you have to like cycle through so many to get there. I feel like the current minimal overlay is the correct amount of minimal overlay, because then you have people asking like, can you make one with just FPS, or can you like, then it just becomes like 10 different overlays. But I'll pass it on. And yes, the sticks are nice. The sticks are
they're so
an
great.
Improvement for sure. Ergonomics are still my favorite part, although the battery has so shiny, Jake.
Yeah, I'm with you on the ergonomics. Like, the battery life is huge, but I game at home so much. I will absolutely appreciate it, but
I do too. And this is funny. So actually, fun fact, guys, I was on the official Xbox podcast today talking about the Ally X. So go check. I don't think they've posted the latest episode yet, but go check out the latest episode.
Oh, nice.
I will be on there talking about the Ally X with Jeff Rubenstein. It was a good time. And we both had the same thought, which was like, yeah, I love the ergonomics, but once I started playing on the Ally, after a few days, I realized I haven't gotten a low battery notification once yet.
That's true.
And he said the same thing. He was like, yeah, that was what amazed me. I was like, wait a minute, I haven't even thought about the battery. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, the battery is amazing. I never thought it wouldn't be. The ergonomics were what I was the most excited about, but the battery is really cool, especially if you're playing games in like silent or performance mode. Oh, it goes for a really long time.
Yeah.
And with better performance than the original Ally, because we bumped the wattages on those modes just a little bit, which is cool. Last night, I was playing Spider-Man. I was testing something in Spider-Man, and I launched it, and I was like, huh, the frame rate is a little bit lower than what I was expecting. It was like 40-ish, maybe like dipping into the 30s. And I was like, I remember it being like this, like when the Ally first launched, like maybe a little bit higher, but like just a little bit lower than what I'm expecting. And I realized I was in silent mode. Silent mode. I can play Spider-Man in silent mode now. That's insane.
That's ridiculous. Like that's because I was playing.
They've made a lot of improvements to that game. We'll talk about it later because I know that's on your list, Jake. But
yeah, I was playing on Monday, getting 90 FPS. Pretty wild.
Yeah, the frame generation is a really nice improvement. But is there a possibility of creating your own animation for Armory Crate? Not that's currently built into Armory Crate SE. That would be cool though. Who knows what the future might hold? But yes, right now, if you go to Lane, you're not going to have this feature. I think this feature might only be on the retail units and not on our pre-production units for some reason. But if you go into settings and you go to general, under the personalization tab, you can download other boot animations. Like right now, it's just the Armory Crate logo and it kind of goes, zoop. But we have one with like Ghost Runner, with like the guy running with a sword and slashing the screen. There's like a Cult of the Lamb one, a Starfield one.
This is new. This is new packaging.
It is, and it's nice. So
you were just making fun of me for doing multiple unboxings on stream, but our unboxing has changed.
Is that IO layout? I love it.
No, it's basically telling you that when you open it up, plug it in and charge it before you turn it on. So I had a couple people ask like, oh my gosh, my ally's dead on arrival because it's not turning on. Sometimes you do have to plug it in first. Like I had to plug mine in first. And sometimes in some cases you may have to leave it plugged in for like 5 minutes.
That's true for like so many electronics.
You can boot it up.
Like that's not a
it's most stuff. But a lot of people, especially if you're really, really excited, like you just open it, you go to turn it on and your brain's not working properly. I get it. It happens. So
you heard me here, chat. Your brain doesn't work well.
That's not what I meant.
Got him.
Yeah, so plug it in, give it a few minutes. Obviously, if that doesn't work, if you encounter any problems, contact customer support, whatnot. But I definitely had to plug mine in before I could turn it on. That is pretty normal. What does SE stand for? SE stands for Special Editions. It's Armory Crate Special Edition. The Special Edition is for the Ally only. That's what separates it from regular Armory Crate. So this is something I try to tell people like in the Discord when they're asking questions. If you're asking questions about Armory Crate, make sure you specify SE or on the Ally because obviously Armory Crate is the software that runs all of our machines, laptops, desktops with our motherboards, things like that. So if you're talking about this Armory Crate, the Special Armory Crate, make sure you mention that because it is pretty different because it's designed for a handheld interface.
Yeah, not slippery elitist. Special.
That is
it is not. It is not Armory Crate Square Enix.
That's such a cursed noise, Jake. That's like the opposite of ASMR, where you just hear plastic crinkling.
I bet you somebody found it soothing.
All right. Well, I don't judge.
Guys, raise your hand if you found that soothing and not cringe-inducing.
Sorry, I wasn't thinking too much about it. I didn't know how much my mic was picking it up, to be honest with you. I apologize. But hey, I wanted to break into this bad boy. Oh, how's this?
It picks up some of it, and it doesn't pick up other parts of it.
Yeah, that's similar to probably the Discord audio cancellation there. Anyway, so before we got to the part talking about our favorite games, I did want to talk about a few articles that we've updated. We mentioned this briefly on the last stream, but it was not in the cut down version for YouTube, which by the way, guys, you'll probably notice if you're watching this not live, look at the timestamp. This is a long stream today. We're doing the whole stream as a VOD. We're not cutting anything down for YouTube because we're just chilling, answering questions, talking about stuff. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to watch live,
now you know.
Yep. So, I wanted to update a bunch of our guides for the Ally X and for Armory Crate SE 1.5. But first, and possibly most important for those of you that haven't bought the Ally X yet, we have this really cool guide I'm going to drop in chat about the differences between the two systems. Because I saw a lot of people talking and saying like, oh, what's different? Is it just the black color? Is it just that it has more RAM and storage? And there's actually a whole bunch of things we changed. So I got the design team to whip up this cool little comparison table for us that shows you all of the differences between the original Ally and the Ally X, like the fact that it's got the more comfortable hand grips, the tighter springs on the joysticks, the new D-pad, louder speakers, all kinds of different little stuff. Even the max charging speed, which isn't something that we've talked about as much. It still comes with a 65-watt charger, but because we increased the battery so much, we want you to be able to charge it from 0 to 100 quickly. It does support up to 100 watts of charging. So if you have a 100-watt brick from another device or that you bought third party and a 100-watt compatible cable, you can actually charge the Ally even faster than the included charger by plugging it into a 100-watt charger, which is really cool. Someone just said, why can't I use a 100-watt cable with a 100-watt charger to charge my Ally? I don't know. A bunch of people have said that it's working well for them. I would double check your cable, would probably be the first place I'd check. But again, like we haven't gone through and certified like every single charger and cable right for the Ally. And sometimes like we saw with docks on the previous Ally, some will work better than others. Like it's especially with cables. I've seen a lot of people over the past year with the first Ally be like, oh, this 100-watt dock is 100-watt capable, but it doesn't work with the cable I have, and so you may just need a better cable. But I've seen other people have success with that, so I don't think that should not be a problem on the Ally X. I would check your charger and cable first. Anyway, so yeah, these are I would recommend if you guys are still on the fence about the Ally X or deciding which model to buy, check out this article because it is pretty handy.
Yeah, that's all the
other things. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, this is all the specs, but some of these things really are hard to articulate just kind of with a spreadsheet. When you physically hold the Ally X, there is something that separates it from the original Ally because there's a lot of learnings that have happened over the last year, both from internally, but also from the community feedback. That's what the Ally X is. So many people are like, why isn't there an Ally 2? Where's the new APU? I see that on stream all the time. Like, why would I buy this thing? It's like, well, guys, no. This is a 1.5. This is a perfection of the form factor that we've created so far. Everything we've done with the first one, there's no APU that we've deemed worth jumping to for a new unit just yet, and we've stuck to the Z1 Extreme because it does perform so well, and we've made this. But just take that into consideration that the Ally X is superior in a lot of ways, right? But the Ally is still great if that's what your budget can accommodate, right? For $399 on Best Buy right now for the Z1 version of the Ally. If you're playing,
it's actually not $399 today, but it goes on sale for that very frequently. Yeah, last week it was. I checked today. One thing I want to mention too is not just that that we don't want to put a new APU in it, but I mentioned this in our Q&A stream. You guys can go back and watch that. Is sticking with the same APU for the second year is part of what allows both the Ally and the Ally X to be at the price points that they are. If we went with a new APU, it would be more expensive for us to manufacture it, and thus the Ally X would be more expensive than its $800 price point, which I already know is like for a lot of people, like that's kind of their limit, right? If it were even higher, we wouldn't be able to sell as many units, and it would have actually made the first Ally more expensive too. We always planned to use the Z1 Extreme for multiple years, and that allowed us to spread out that cost. So that also means that the original Ally would have been more expensive, which we didn't want. We want this to be an affordable but high quality handheld, right? So that's part of the reason that we stuck with the original the Z1 Extreme APU, and it's still performing great. We were just talking about how like it's still getting better, especially as games get better upscaling technology, frame generation. I mean, AFMF was such a game changer on this thing for me. It was like a whole new device.
Yeah.
A couple questions. When is the hard case coming? I don't have an exact date yet, but I know it was delayed a few weeks. It was supposed to be out by launch, but it was delayed a little bit. So check back in a few weeks and you should see that pop up soon, hopefully. Is there a place where we can find key bindings for different games? Not at the moment. We're not hosting any key bindings. You can share key bindings from Armory Crate like we showed last week on stream. It's possible that the community may come up with a little database or something like that, but right now we're not hosting anything specific. We're kind of giving that feature to you and letting the community decide how they want to, whether you just want to share it between individual people or kind of upload it to some database. Maybe that's something we'll build into Armory Crate in the future. Who knows? But I don't have anything about that at the moment. I also don't have anything. I can't give you guys release dates on like specific drivers or anything like that. We kind of release that stuff as we go.
Yeah, cool. Well, the only other thing I want to rant on, just kind of chiming in on using the Z1 Extreme for 2 generations, or 2 models of the Ally, if you will. That's very similar and very more in line with what consoles do. If you guys didn't know, when a console first releases, consoles they hemorrhage money when they first drop a console. Traditionally, Nintendo is kind of an outlier because they tend to use cheaper hardware and they just make it work with low-powered games. Their focus has never been pushing hardware, but historically they released an Xbox, and Xbox is relying on that console to have a nice long lifeline, so that they're making money on game sales and future hardware. They may make sales. Controllers they may make profit, but the actual initial console tends to lose them money, and that's how the console industry has been for a long, long time. So the Ally's kind of in that. I mean, it's different, but it's definitely
we
in that space too.
We consider the Ally kind of in between a typical PC and a console in terms of like how often one would expect to upgrade and kind of the like power level and convenience you expect, just like all of the different features of like PCs and consoles. It's kind of in between. And so that's kind of, yeah, you're right. That's exactly what we were kind of thinking. Like, I'm not saying we're going to have a 7-year cycle for the Z1 Extreme necessarily. I mean, maybe we will. Look, I don't know. It could happen, I suppose, but I would find that unlikely. So yeah, that was kind of the thought process behind that.
I think the other interesting.
Can we get release dates for the CrowdStrike updates? I can't give you guys shipping updates. You'll have to contact your shipping carriers or the retailer.
It's out of our hands completely. Yeah.
Yeah, I do know that our we did have enough stock for all the pre-orders that we got. Like, we have plenty of stock, and it all got shipped out to local offices and things like that. But then once CrowdStrike hit, like, it affected. There's so many different links in the logistics chain, right? And so when CrowdStrike hit, it hit everyone. And so wherever your particular unit was in the chain, it probably slowed down. And like, that gap is closing as everyone catches up. But I can't give you specific dates on anything because a lot of it is out of our hands, unless you ordered it from us, in which case you'll have to contact your local office and kind of see where they are. Because again, like, it's every local office is shipping their own units.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some other guides that we updated, I'm just going to drop these in chat. If you are a first-time Ally user, check out this guide. These are all of our best tips and tricks. Highly recommend reading all of this, because a lot of the questions I see in our Discord and in stream and places like that are answered in these guides. Thank you to Lane for helping me update all these guides and putting all the correct links in. Lane was slaving away on this yesterday. And then we have, we don't need to show all these on stream, Jake, but I'm just going to pop them in chat. Guides on how to boost performance of the Ally, extend the battery life. Also really, really cool. And then, Jake, this one you might want to show, the games tag. We got a bunch of different lists of favorite games for the Ally. Not that one, Jake, the other one. This is handy too, though. We've also got optimized settings for a bunch of different games on the Ally. So if you want to know what the best settings are for a popular AAA game, Google it, look on our site. We've got a bunch of them. But we also have just like lists of our favorite games, like our favorite retro games, our favorite indie games. Robert just did 2 new guides. One is the best games for the Ally that are available on Game Pass. I'll drop that in chat. So if you remember, the Ally comes with, and Ally X come with 3 months of Game Pass out of the box. So, even if you have a Game Pass subscription, it'll stack with your existing subscription. But even if you don't, fire up that 3 months. You can play a lot of games for free. And then he also did one. I really like this one. The best ROG Ally games you can finish in one day. Like, games that are 5 hours or less. And in fact, a lot of those games you could probably play in one charge on the Ally X.
That's actually awesome.
Because if you're playing in silent or performance mode, like and the game's only 3 hours or whatever, easily play it, finish it in one charge. That's freaking cool.
No, it's very cool. Indie titles, yeah, no, easy.
Yeah, right?
I wonder what I wonder how long the Ally X battery will last playing on silent mode for a game like Stardew Valley. Like, I'm genuinely curious how many hours that is.
Stardew Valley, you could probably even go into manual mode and adjust it even lower. You could probably go down to like 7 watts for that game.
Oh, definitely. I think you could probably do 5, honestly.
I don't think the Ally goes to 5.
Okay.
So I think technically, like, I think some people have done it with third-party tools, but it gets, I think, a little bit dicey at 5 watts.
Okay.
Was my understanding. So I think 7 watts is like the minimum that we officially support. So yeah, but you could, I bet you could play Stardew Valley at 7 watts, and I bet you could play it for a long time.
I should test that. I should just fire it up and just like let it go.
Actually, I'm gonna respond to him in chat.
Alrighty. Yeah, there is a slew of resources that Lane, Whitson, and our new colleague Robert have been writing on the website. So guys, check those out. I mean, I talked about this on stream several times already since I was playing a lot of Elden Ring. But especially some of these performance guides, if you're already feeling confident with your ally and you've been playing your ally a lot and you know what you're doing, please use Whitson's guides for performance for the games where it's there, because it makes a huge difference. Spider-Man, like I said, I set it up Spider-Man. I was getting 90 FPS. I just used the settings to get 90 FPS. Looked brilliant, right? Same thing with Elden Ring, getting the perfect 60 FPS in that game. Brand new AAA title that you're getting 60 FPS on the handheld on that's going to last hours in your hand. Like, it's nuts. It's nuts. So please utilize these guides. It is for your benefit.
Please. I'm not just begging for traffic. I don't think anyone cares how much traffic I actually get. I want all the work to have been worth it.
Yeah. And you guys will profit. I'm telling you, like, Spider-Man was something that I fired up on the Ally when we first got our allies. And, this isn't just the Ally X being superior, because it is slightly better with the more memory. Definitely runs better than it would on the Ally by a little bit, maybe 10%. But
it depends on the game.
But like the technologies, like you said, frame generation and RSR and all these new technologies that have been added to the game and to the device itself have allowed you to push that frame way higher. Because I didn't enjoy playing it when we first got it, right? Spider-Man on the Ally, when it first dropped, was like 30 to 40 FPS. And now
it was a little bit more, but you're right. It dipped because it's so CPU bound. It would like have these dips, especially when you're swinging around in the city.
Yeah.
Where like it would run okay most of the time, but then it would just kind of have these I don't know what you call a spike downward, like a stutter or whatever.
Yep.
And yeah, it was driving me crazy to the point where like that I actually wrote that optimized settings guide before the Ally launched. I did that when we were in Taiwan and we first got the Ally. I wrote that guide, but I just couldn't get performance to be quite where I wanted it to for me to feel like really confident publishing that. And then we got some driver updates out. Nixies has continued to update that game with better performance and more features. And then at a certain point, I was like, hey, performance is now actually at a really good spot for this game. I can publish this guide. And then when the FSR 3 and frame generation update dropped recently for Spider-Man, holy crap, it plays like an entirely different game now. Like, and so I updated the guide because like FSR 3 frame generation in that is just incredible. So yeah, it went from like 40-ish frames per second swinging around the city to now I'm getting like 90 to 100.
It's
nuts.
So good. So good.
Actually nuts.
Full advantage of the refresh rate right there.
Yeah, can you believe that you could take full advantage of that 120 hertz screen in a game like Spider-Man on the Ally?
It's baffling.
I never thought. Yeah, it's actually insane. So
like, that's definitely a replay that's happening very soon. Like Paternity Time, Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
I replayed it recently. It's really good. I'm probably going to play Miles Morales next on the Ally.
I don't remember if I own that one on PC or not, but
I don't, but I'm going to buy it. It's been on sale recently, and I'm like, okay, it's like around like 20, 25 bucks, I think, pretty frequently. And so I'm like, all right, it's about time.
When Spider-Man 2 drop on PC this winter?
No, this fall is Ragnarok. And then so Spider-Man 2, I assume, will come out like next fall. But we don't have a date yet. That's just like my personal assumption based on like the timing of Ragnarok from when it released. Spider-Man 2 came out a year after Ragnarok on PS5, so I assume if they're keeping the same cadence, it would be like next year sometime. But who knows? We'll see it when we see it.
Since this is our full ramble episode of Pulse, I'm going to derail this and say I booked movie tickets to go see a film for the first time in years, like for opening weekend, like pre-booked tickets for Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm like so pumped for that movie. Been a big Wolverine fan, been a big Marvel fan for my whole life, but Deadpool and Wolverine just looks like such an absolute blast. And this is a guy that didn't see a ton of the MCU films in theaters, right? I waited years.
Yeah, Jake still hasn't seen Endgame.
I watched it in Taiwan in October.
Oh, you finally did?
I watched it in October last year. Yep. It was a great distraction at the time. And
our boss was making a lot of fun of him for not having seen it yet.
I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. So I'm actually almost completely caught up on the MCU films at this point. Like I didn't see most of them in theaters, watched most of them on Disney Plus. But I'm very excited for that movie.
I am too.
Hugh,
We're gonna go see it on like Monday.
Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have a Hot Ones episode that
I saw that.
they're
watching
doing
that
to promote it. Don't tell me anything. I have to wait and watch it with Kate because we're in love with both of them.
Yep.
Have we reached the point where we're not saying don't spoil the movie for me, but we're saying don't spoil the Hot Ones
Correct.
for me? Is that
Correct.
like the point?
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
I can dig it.
Do you have a favorite Hot Ones episode?
I really like the Charlize Theron episode and the Paul Rudd. So they're from a couple years ago.
Rudd's.
I heard the Paul Rudd one was really good.
Yeah.
I actually have not watched Hot Ones. I've heard it's amazing, but I haven't.
It's just such a good interview format. Like it's really chill. It works really well. The Pedro Pascal one is my favorite. I just love that man so dearly. So
yeah, it basically, if you really like the celebrity, watch the Hot Ones interview and you'll have a good time. That's my feeling on it.
Chief, we are all ASUS employees. Yep. We are the content marketing team for ASUS headquarters.
We are. Minus Robert. We're missing one of our content marketing folks. Rest in peace. He's not dead. He's just, we didn't have 4 tiles to fit him in. It was a whole thing.
Did we lose him? Like, do you have the air tag on him?
No, Robert is our new writer. He has not been on stream yet, but I'm gonna get him on stream sometime soon.
Didn't DJ Khaled give up like immediately in his?
Yeah, it's infamous for, because back at that time, not everybody got to wing number 10, so it wasn't like that unheard of. But he just like walked out of the interview.
Like after like the first wing, right? Like he gave up.
Yeah, it was like a very combative interview. It's well known. Yeah,
I gotta watch that. I heard about it. I mean, it made headlines, right? That's amazing. That's amazing. All right.
Should we talk about our favorite games? Jake, you've already talked about Spider-Man. I feel like that should just be your first one. Let's just finish talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's on my list. It just, Spider-Man, like I was saying, when it comes to the best games on the Ally, for me, a huge component is I'm playing with a controller, right? And I'm not much of a console gamer. I am a PC gamer through and through. I think we all are. But for me, I'm getting back into using a controller took me a little while. I spent almost 20 years of almost never using a controller, even though I grew up playing console games. So, Spider-Man is one of those games that just plays so perfectly on a controller. I mean, they just nailed it, and it's such a good experience. And I even bought a PS5 for that game, right? I bought a PS5 because I wanted to play Spider-Man 2. I have played Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and God of War on my PS5. I bought a console and I played 3 games on it. That is it. I have never played another game. I have bought other games. I bought like The Last of Us Part 2 after playing Part 1 on the PC. I played for about 8 minutes and I said, I cannot do this with a controller. I cannot play this game with a controller because it's just such a better experience on PC. So that's why Spider-Man like really stands out to me, because it's this AAA game that just is so polished and so good. Whereas another game like Destiny 2, even though I grew up playing Halo with a controller, I can't enjoy it. I can't enjoy it with a controller. I cannot enjoy Destiny 2 with a controller. Game runs brilliantly on the Ally. I can't enjoy it. So some people will absolutely love it. That's going to be their jam, and that's great, and I'm happy for you. For me, that is a PC game, and only that. So my list is very much geared towards games that are not shooters, I guess.
Should specify mouse and keyboard, not PC, because I play all my controller games on PC. I only play on PC, but mouse and keyboard specifically for shooters.
Yeah. So I'll run through my list though. So Spider-Man, we'll put that.
Well, actually, I was good. So I was thinking we each do one.
Okay.
And just go around again and again and again.
You next.
So Spider-Man for Jake.
Yep.
Which you stole from me, but that's cool.
You can take it too.
I was kidding. I actually put a different one in. Lane.
Well, going off of some games are meant to be played on controller, and always go and check Whitson's performance guides. I was doing some testing for Red Dead Redemption 2 when we were writing that performance guide, and that game is meant to be played on controller, and
it is.
We got the FPS to where it just felt silky smooth, running around on the horse, shooting people. The auto aim in Rockstar games is great on controller.
It's really good.
You feel like you're actually good at shooting with the controller.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed things that I hadn't done, because I originally played Red Dead with mouse and keyboard on the PC, So when I replayed, some things were meant for that, like the fishing mechanic is awful with a mouse
That's
because there's no tactile feedback.
Yeah.
The ways that you interact with the pole are really weird. But then when you have the two joysticks and a little bit of vibration, you can catch any fish you're going for. So fun things like that. Red Dead was amazing on the Ally.
I also played Red Dead on the. I played it on my TV and the Ally. But was cloud saves really nice, just syncs up. And then I went on vacation. I could keep playing, and yeah, it played really nicely. It was hard to dial in those settings. I remember writing that guide with you.
Yeah.
It took a little bit. The Rockstar games have so many settings, and they're such like big open world games that I mean, Red Dead was like a Red Dead 2 was many years old at that point, and still kind of tough to get running really, really well. But we did dial it in nicely, and it was really fun. I did enjoy it. I didn't expect it to hit as hard. I expected it to just be GTA with horses, and it was not. Like it is not a like GTA is a satire, and Red Dead just punches you in the gut repeatedly.
It does.
That's how I went into it, and I was like, okay, so when is the other shoe gonna fall? When's it gonna get slapstick? When is it gonna turn into GTA? And then it never did, and I'm like, okay, I guess I love this story. This is a great story-driven game.
And the world is just so alive. You know, when it comes to open world games like that, it's hard to make the world, especially when you're doing something that's based on reality, right? It's hard to make the world feel alive. And I don't know that I can think of a better game in terms of realism and making it feel like a live setting. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. They really hit it out of the park with that one.
I know. I'm excited to see what they do next. First, we have GTA 6, but then one day, who knows?
I want to go back to the Old West. After playing Red Dead, I want to go back to the Old West.
I know. I never thought that I would like Red Dead better than GTA. I like GTA, but I like Red Dead a lot more, which surprised me. But here we are.
Here we are.
All right. Good pick, Link. Good pick.
All right.
My first pick is incredibly obvious. It is by far my most played game on the Ally, and I talk about it way too much, but it's Forza Horizon 5.
Who would have guessed?
It's just so good. Forza is one of those games that, like, when I got a Series X for my old job. And it was like my first experience with Game Pass, my first Xbox since the OG Xbox. And I was like, all right, I got to try Game Pass. I want to try some of the Microsoft exclusive games that I hadn't played yet. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll try Forza, that weird racing game that for some reason people like so much and I have no interest in. And then I played it, and within like 10 minutes, I was like, this is the best game I've ever played. It was so good. And that was 4 at the time. But like, I just got so hooked, and I was like, I had no idea I was a racing game fan, but here we are. It is the game that I go back to in between all my other games. And it's great because I said this when I was on the Xbox podcast. It's perfect for the Ally, because the Ally, you want games that you could jump into for like maybe only 15 minutes. Because like the beauty of a portable console is like, oh, I'm like waiting in my kid's swim lesson or whatever. I'll like pull it out and like play something and put it back. Forza is one of those games that you can play for 3 hours, or you can play it for 15 minutes. Or you can say that you're going to play it for 15 minutes, and then 3 hours later, you're like, oh, crap, it's been 3 hours, and I'm still playing this. And that is the beauty. And another game that you have to play on a controller. Absolutely have to, because you need the analog triggers. And
controller or like a race sim. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play that with mouse and keyboard.
So, and it runs beautifully on the Ally X. So there you go. Yeah. And it's on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, or you get an Ally with 3 months of Game Pass built in, it's free.
Yeah. Okay. My next pick. I'm a big fan of roguelike games, and I think my introduction of roguelike games was actually more like Slay the Spire, which I actually prefer with a mouse or touch over the Ally. And you could play it with touch, but I actually haven't really dabbled with that too much on the Ally. Then there's games like Hades and Hades 2. And I think that's going to be my pick here, is just because Hades and Hades 2, I mean, perfect controller game, right? I do like it on mouse and keyboard. That's one of the games where I'm actually content playing both, and that's a rare thing. But I really do like the controls with both. I think the average player plays with controller, but I actually really like mouse and keyboard for that game, and I think I'm the oddity there. But
that is kind of weird, but I can see it.
I think it's good. And honestly, even weirder, depending on the weapon I'm using, I might prefer controller or mouse and keyboard because of the interaction.
No, I think that makes sense.
Right. So
I think that makes total sense.
Yeah. So but I fully love playing it on the Ally. It's super fun. Hades 2 and Hades 1. I actually haven't played as much Hades 2 as I'd like, but there's still plenty of time for me to dive in. It's still in early access anyways. So yeah, phenomenal games. That's my next pick.
Lane, have you played Hades?
I have. I'm not very good at it. I got stuck at a level when I was on a flight and haven't gotten back into it, but it ran amazingly well. It looked gorgeous. I think I just need to like watch a YouTube video and get over whatever learning curve bump I'm on, and then I can definitely.
Do you remember what boss you got stuck on, or was it even a boss? Or
it's about an hour in.
Is this Hades 1?
Yeah, Hades 1. Yeah, I don't think I was on a boss yet. I think I was just like getting killed by random minions.
Oh.
Here's the beauty of Hades and roguelikes in general. Again, a genre that I thought that I would not like until it was on Game Pass, and I was like, I'll try it. And it turned out to be like one of my favorite games of all time. 10 out of 10 across the board. Hades is incredible. And the beauty is that if you get stuck like that, you can just keep playing, and eventually, like, you'll just gain enough experience. I don't remember what it is in Hades, but then you get more.
You go to the mirror or whatever, that table
abilities or whatever. That's the beauty of roguelikes, is that, like, yes, if you have mad skill or you want to try and see how few runs you can beat it in, you can. But also, if you're not great at it or you're still kind of figuring out how the game works, like, it will scale to you by just the more runs you do, the more experience you have, and the more abilities you can use, making it easier the more you play.
No, that's true.
So I originally was like, roguelikes can't be fun if you die too much. Like, if the whole point of the game is dying repeatedly, that sounds awful. Nope, it's amazing, because when it's built into the game like that and you get better every time, you don't feel bad about dying.
The way they did the storytelling through death is like just brilliant. It's like, I've given Hades praise enough times where I can shut up now, but like, gosh, such a good game.
So, okay, Lane, do you mind if I go next, because mine is actually related, and then you can take yours. I'm gonna, since I knew Jake was gonna take Hades, and Hades was actually my first and favorite roguelite. The first one that I played on the Ally, and the other game that totally sold me on roguelites, was Dead Cells.
Yep.
Dead Cells is amazing, plays beautifully on the Ally, perfect for controller gaming. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like pixel arty, it's roguelite, it's a little bit Castlevania-y, kinda.
Definitely.
And I love Castlevania.
It has Metroidvania vibes.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It really does. And actually, they have a DLC that's Return to Castlevania, where you get to fight all these like classic Castlevania enemies, updated soundtrack and stuff. Really good. And by the way, a tip, if you're playing Dead Cells, maybe Hades too, some of these more like indie type games, we added a new feature in the past year where you can turn off CPU boost on the Ally. Not something you typically do on a computer, where, because every CPU has its base clock and then its boost clock, and depending on how many cores you're used, it can boost higher or lower. You can actually turn that off on the Ally using a command center function. And in a lot of AAA games, you'll lose a little bit of performance while doing that. In a lot of indie games, you won't really lose performance because they don't need that CPU as badly. And so if you turn off CPU boost, you'll just extend your battery even longer. And with the new version of Armory Crate SE, you can do all of that in the game profile. So you could go into the Dead Cells or Hades game profile, tell it to turn off CPU boost just for that game, and then you never have to worry about it again. You don't have to be fiddling with command center settings for every individual game. You just set them in the game's profile, and each game can run as beautifully as you set it. This one has AFMF, this one has CPU boost or no CPU boost, this one has RSR, which I'll talk about later. Yeah, really awesome. So if you guys played Hades and liked it, or you want to try out one of the original roguelites, Dead Cells. Original, sort of. The original is Rogue, but...
So, I can tie into this a little bit too. So, I am a shameless AAA gamer. If it's not made by a big name studio and costs $60 or $70, I don't want to touch it.
Wow.
But
I got to spend money.
I'm that guy. But I got a suggestion from chat, and I'm sorry, I forget who it was if you're there.
This was No Pulse.
No Pulse. Thank you, No Pulse. It was for Time Wasters, and I picked it up without looking at the reviews, bought it for $4.99 or $5.99 on Steam, and played it a couple months later when I was on a plane, and it is exactly what it says. It is a time waster, and it has the right
a really
amount,
fun one.
Yes, and it has the right amount of punishment for misplays. But you get to power scale if you play the game correctly, learn a new strategy, and as soon as you get good at a new ship, you unlock the next ship, and then you have to completely change your strategy that got you through on the first ship. I really, really enjoy it. I'm at a halfway point where I'm like good with most of the ships, but I haven't unlocked any of the challenge levels. And
I
it's
feel like
great for
I feel like we
a
need to
5,
describe what it
10,
is.
30-minute session. Let me try and describe
It's
it.
Vampire Survivors meets Asteroids is how I would describe it.
Yeah,
God.
I've never played Vampire Survivors, so I was kind of thinking of those bullet games
Bullet
that used to
hell?
be on arcade, bullet hell
Like a
games.
bullet hell, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for sure. It's Vampire Survivors Bullet Hell meets Asteroids. And the cool thing about the thing that it like kind of adds to the Vampire Survivors formula, which like a lot of games are doing now. I think the big thing with Time Wasters, not only that you have all these different ships, but like you have these different like planets around the map that if you hover over them, you'll get a bonus for like defeating enemies in that area. And so it adds a bit more strategy to like, okay, I need this right now. I'm going to try and lure enemies over here so I can get this bonus over here. Oh, now I need to go over here and kind of get this bonus. It is really fun, and that just that little extra kind of like mental kind of chess on the board, I think adds a lot to the gameplay. It is a really fun game.
And for a map that's teeny tiny that you can traverse in about
small.
5 seconds, there's a lot going on. It's very cool. Very cool, unique idea for a game. I'm very glad that I tried it.
Well, of course, I have to follow that up with a game that I've been streaming nonstop lately, which is Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, which I'm going to go on a side tangent before I even talk about the game. There's a dwarven metal band called Windrose, and they just made an official Deep Rock Galactic theme song called Rock and Stone. So it just came out. I actually heard it on Spotify today. It came in my release radar, and I was like, what? So they like, this dwarven metal band did a collab with one of my favorite games. It's like, this is awesome.
Officially licensed. I love it.
I mean,
it is
I
awesome.
think it is.
It is a cool
official.
song.
Yeah. I think it's actually a collab. But Rock and Stone, yeah, it's great. It's great. But no, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor again. Vampire Survivors is a. If you don't know what that game is, Vampire Survivors is a game that is it blew up. I think it was $1 to purchase it or something. It was very, very cheap. I think it's free to play on mobile even. But the guy almost had no idea how to make games. He just used a lot of easy free assets or low quality assets, 8-bit assets, and programmed the enemies to just come at you. And then you randomly select items as you level up. You gain XP by collecting XP from killing things. You gain XP, you level up, and you make one of 3 random selections for different weapons. And each weapon, you don't actually do anything to cast it. It just kind of casts on its own. This is given birth to a whole genre of games, which we're now seeing things like Time Wasters exist, where they're splicing that concept with other things, and now Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, which feels like a AAA adaptation to it to me, because you've got the various dwarves, the 4 different dwarves from Deep Rock Galactic, and you have these different mining levels where you have to run and collect all these resources and stuff. Meanwhile, you're picking gun choices and stuff, and there's strategy as to the gun might only shoot in front of you, it might only shoot to the side of you, or whatnot. And there's all these different combinations of weapons and strategies and stuff they have to do, and it's just beyond addicting. Like I am gonna play 1 billion hours of that game. Like I am gonna put in.
Already played. So
I know,
much
and I will
game.
put in hundreds of hours into that game. It is just that is, I probably should have saved this one for last because it's probably my number 1 ally game. I think DRGS is probably my.
It
favorite.
was relevant talking about Time Wasters.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I had to slip it in here, but I think that's probably not my number 1, at least right now.
We had a quick question in chat that I wanted to address. Nuclear Phosphate says, if I put the Ally X into hibernate mode, will games still download? No. So hibernate is basically like a deeper sleep. So if you put your computer to sleep, it's not going to keep downloading stuff in the background in most cases, right? Hibernate basically shuts the machine down entirely, but saves your state so that when you boot back up, it'll kind of be where you left it, but it turns the machine completely off. If you want to download games in the background, you basically need to keep it from sleeping, or what you can do on the Ally X specifically, this feature's not on the Ally, just the Ally X. If you go into the general settings and you go to like the eco tab, there's a setting that allows you to keep the machine on while the screen is turned off, which is great for like downloading games in the background and stuff like that. Cool little new feature that we added to the Ally X. I would check that out. Jake looked confused.
I wish I had my camera plugged in. My cat is nestling on my desk, but I was watching him. I'm like, he was looking like he might paw at the power cable on my desktop, because he's like right next to my desktop. I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? And then now he's asleep.
Oh, sorry. It's in performance settings, not general. Might be. Base Derek says also for Vampire Survivor-like games, see Halls of Torment, Soulstone Survivors, and Brotato.
Oh, Brotato's fun. I played Brotato, but I
Brotato's
should
cool.
check those other ones out. I like all of those games. They're all very fun. I've played a fair bit of Brotato.
The other rec that from No Pulse that we got at the same time as Time Wasters, but I still haven't played it, is God of Weapons, which is cool. It's I think it's like a Survivors like game, but it's kind of like added thing, like its little special sauce is kind of an inventory management thing where you have to like as you get your new abilities and stuff, you kind of have to do that kind of like Tetris inventory management of like fitting them into your square. I think it's kind of like that is my understanding. So that seemed pretty cool. I still haven't
I could see some people loving that, and I could see myself hating that because I just want to mindlessly.
That's fair.
Like I want to use no brain cells, right? That's why DRGS is so good, and it also it's
Jake
like
has no
drugs.
brain cells to use. You know what? Here's the thing. I have realized, especially in the age of Game Pass, everything that I think I'm gonna hate, I end up loving. In fact, most of the games on this list: Forza Horizon 5, Dead Cells. I'm about to do Elden Ring. All games that I thought I was going to hate. All genres that I thought I was going to hate. And they are 3 of my 10 out of 10 favorite all-time games.
Yeah. Elden Ring. Go with send it.
Okay, Elden Ring. Elden Ring's amazing. I don't need to tell you guys why Elden Ring is amazing, but I am here to tell you that Elden Ring runs also amazing on the Ally X.
It does.
That's the real thing here. I played the crap out of Elden Ring when it came out. I've done a little bit of the DLC. I don't know if I'm going to finish it because there are too many games on my list that I want to play. But I also was excited about Elden Ring on the Ally X because when I did the optimized settings guide for that game, you're seeing a pattern in the things we talk about here. I have to just keep ringing this bell. I did the optimized settings for Elden Ring, and unfortunately, I got to a spot where Elden Ring was one of the only games that we kind of featured that didn't have FSR built in. So when I did the optimized settings, I was like, look, you can play this game at 1080p, but the best experience, in my opinion, is at 720p or 900p with RSR turned on. And that allows you to turn up the anti-alias settings, and it looks better and it plays better. And now, with ACSC 1.5, you can have RSR turn on automatically in the game profile.
Glorious. Such a nice thing. Even yesterday in chat, somebody came in like, is there any way I can make it so my game sticks to 40 FPS? I'm like, not 40. But you can go into the game profile settings and set it to only play at 45 FPS. I don't know why. I don't know what their specific use case was or game, but it's something that they wanted to do, and you can do that.
Well, here's something to mention.
1.5.
So for some people, that may be a power saving thing, right? Like I want to limit it to 40 FPS so I can stretch out the battery. Maybe that's one of the reasons. The other thing is that I think people might be used to some other handheld consoles that don't have VRR, where if a game can't reach 60, and so if you're getting like, 40, 50 something frames per second on a 60 hertz screen that doesn't have VRR, it's going to stutter a lot because the frame rate isn't going to line up with the refresh rate of the screen. We saw this when they did that demo for us in Taiwan. So on those types of consoles, if you set an FPS limiter to 40 or you set the screen refresh to 40 hertz specifically, it'll play much smoother because the frame rate will match up with the screen. The Ally, you don't need to do that because the Ally has a FreeSync premium display where the screen will change its refresh rate based on the frame rate of your game. So if your game is running at like 43 frames per second, the screen will run at 43 hertz and it will adjust dynamically as you play the game. So every time a new frame is ready, the screen just adjusts. And here's the other thing. It also has low frame rate compensation, which is part of FreeSync Premium. Not all FreeSync, but FreeSync Premium. And that means that the display has a FreeSync range, like 48 hertz to 120 hertz. And if you drop out of that range, FreeSync stops working on a normal FreeSync display. But FreeSync Premium, because it has low frame rate compensation, what it basically does is if you drop out of that range, it just doubles the refresh rate of the screen and FreeSync continues to work. And I've seen a lot of like misunderstanding about how this works. You don't need to go change go into the drivers and try to hack a different FreeSync range for the display. With LFC, it just works. The only thing that range denotes is what the native range of the display is. But the driver basically makes it so you can get that range is wider without you having to edit anything. LFC will just handle it all for you. So if you're playing at like 40 frames per second, FreeSync is still going to be working. It's still going to be super smooth. I would, though, Alexis is asking in chat, I would still enable VSync in the game. This is a longer discussion that I'm not going to get into today. I'm trying to write an article about it. I swear, I know. I've already talked a long time. I would still enable VSync.
Yeah.
Is the short version of that. VSync is generally better left on with VRR. It's not going to add a huge amount of input lag unless you're playing a game at 120 frames per second, in which case you can just throw on the FPS limiter to like 90 or whatever, or you can turn off VSync if you want. But I would turn on VSync with VRR, yes. Article coming soon, maybe.
Grass to either Bass Derek or Bass Derek. I'm not sure the pronunciation because it's spelled the same.
Do you play guitar? Or do you like fish?
We don't know, but he just got their Ally X delivered, or they got their Ally X delivered. Congrats. And Sky Music is configuring theirs now. Congrats, guys. Glad
Diego just got his delivered too. Dang, everyone just got theirs delivered.
Love to see it. Congrats. I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to, since I don't have my other camera set up right now, I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys a picture of my kitty cat who's sleeping right on my desk right now. Look at that kitty. What a good kitty.
I mean, if I had a rug on a desk, I'd be asleep too.
It's a blanket.
Yeah, right?
It's a blanket. He's had that blanket for 18 years. He sleeps on that thing all day. All right, Lane, what do you got for us?
So, like I said, massive AAA fanboy. If it ain't AAA, I don't play. And I grew up with Halo. So when the Halo Master Chief Collection came out, that was like the best $40 that money could buy. You could go back through all of the games, either in the OG graphics or the remastered graphics, play with your friends. I spent 500 hours on mouse and keyboard with the Master Chief Collection. And then I thought, I have an Ally. I can play OG Halo on the Ally in a plane. And I did that, and I had an amazing plane ride. So, yeah, Halo 1, Halo 2. I haven't actually tried Halo 3, but I'm sure it would run just fine. Because they were originally console games. But those are meant for controller. They're totally fine in that form factor. And if you don't care about the competitive aspect, because I'm awful at the competitive aspect of it now, just play against the Covenant and the Flood and blow some things up. And
Hey, the Flood.
when the Flood came out in the first game, and I was 6 playing that, I was not mentally ready. Like, I stopped playing on the library level and didn't finish Halo for like a year after that.
It's terrifying.
Nukes, don't ever apologize for asking a question on stream. That's what we're here for. But is it worth enabling battery care mode?
It's good. You want. So that's a feature. He's asking about a question that is in my Asus. This is not currently in Armory Crate, although I've told them I think we should put it in Armory Crate. Battery care mode allows basically stops the battery from charging once it hits 80%. Because batteries every full cycle you go through, right? Batteries do degrade over time, and they'll kind of lose some of their health over time. The battery in the Ally X should have slightly better longevity than the one in the Ally, which is cool. Nice little improvement that we made that, again, wasn't super publicized. But battery care mode basically prevents it from doing a full charge and kind of keeps it under 80%, which should extend the life of the battery a little bit longer. It is not necessary. Your battery's still going to last. It really depends on whether you tend to run out of battery a lot or not. Yeah. Right? If you tend to only play for an hour or two at a time and then you charge it, sure, turn on battery care mode. You'll extend your battery health a little bit.
You can do the same thing with cell phones, same kind of concept.
Yeah,
EVs, same kind of concept.
But it's different. It's same concept, but on a phone, I don't know if I would turn that feature on because I use my phone my phone's on all day, right? And so I go a lot longer between charges, whereas with my Ally, I might only use it for a couple hours and then plug it in. But different people are different, right? So if you play your Ally until it dies, you drain the battery until it dies every time, yeah, it's probably better to have that extra 20%. Or if you're going on a long trip, you might want to turn battery care off so that you have that extra battery. But yeah, that's personal preference.
I love seeing users like Fish Derek get the Ally in their hands for the first time and, getting that instant feedback.
Fish Derek.
Yeah, that's his new name.
You are from now on Fish Derek.
Excellent.
Man. All right, Jake.
Yeah, next one I'm gonna give is Dave the Diver. Another great pseudo indie game. They call it an indie game even though it's made by I forgot the studio name. That big Korean studio. It's just a small team within a larger studio. They make tons of Nexon, right?
Rocket.
I think
Nexon.
They're Nexon. Phenomenal game, which has no right to be as good as it is. It has such an interesting gameplay loop There's, you know, the diving component when you're going in under the water and trying to catch fish, and you know that has the level up of, you know, oh, I can dive deeper, I can stay under longer, I've got a new harpoon, I've got this new item to get through this new, you know, barrier or whatever, and you're exploring, and then there's storytelling through that. But then you take the haul, you take everything you got, and you have to manage a restaurant, and then there's all these other side components that go with it. It's got such good humor and such an interesting and diverse gameplay loop that I can't think of another game that's quite like it, and the pacing is just beyond flawless that I'm utterly just so impressed by it. There's a Godzilla DLC that I haven't played, which is tragic. But yeah, no, Dave the Diver, phenomenal game, really fun on a handheld too. Whitson, you're next.
Sorry, I was answering some questions.
How
in chat.
dare
All right,
you?
my last one is maybe a bit more of a surprise, but again, I really think in this portable form factor, games that you can play for a short period of time are awesome, and there are a lot of those. In fact, we have a whole list of them. Rocket League, there's a bunch of them. Ally short games. I'm gonna drop this in chat because this is a list that I wrote a while ago. But one of the ones that I play all the time is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. That remake. I grew up with those games, right? We're all the same age. We grew up in the early 2000s. We were probably all wannabe skater boys at some point, but I sucked at it. So I played video games instead. And this game I loved. And so when the remake came out, I was like, oh man, I need this. And then when the Ally came out, it was like, this is the perfect platform for this. Because I can jump into a 2-minute run, or like if I'm just like waiting for a plane and I don't want to like dive into like a Spider-Man or something like that, right? It's such a quick fire it up, play for a few minutes, close it, doesn't matter what I did. It was just a great time waster.
Dude,
very nostalgic.
You missed the best part. The game is literally like the best soundtrack of any video game ever released.
It is one of the best soundtracks of any video game ever. The soundtrack is amazing and also very nostalgic because I listened to the crap out of those soundtracks back in like middle school.
It made me like the biggest ska fan.
You guys both missed the best part. It's figuring out what the cheat code is for Darth Maul and then running around as Darth Maul.
Oh gosh, that was 2 though, right? Yeah.
I don't remember
But this
which one
has
it was.
1 and 2 in it. The problem is it doesn't necessarily have all the cheats from the originals. And some of them you have to like, it was one of those games you had to earn. You couldn't just like cheat your way through everything. And the funny thing about that too is that on the original games, different platforms had different like special character cheats or whatever. So I don't know what platform Darth Maul was on, but I played it on PC, and Spider-Man was the special character on the PC version of Tony Hawk 2.
I'm gonna look it up. I don't even remember what I was playing on at that time.
I was definitely playing on PlayStation. 100%. Great game. Battery safe mode is in the My Asus app. The code on the screen, you get that by typing !Elite in chat or going to the ROG Elite Rewards website where there is a tile for ROG streams. You'll see the Twitch and YouTube logo. Click the tile, enter the code. During the live stream, this only works during the live broadcast. We have daily codes for most live streams. Yeah, that's how you grab the Elite code. That's also just, you can get those points when you buy your Ally X. I think you get Elite codes for that. You get Elite codes for all kinds of stuff, motherboards, graphics cards, all kinds of things, but we give them for free. Discord link, rog.gg/join Discord or !Discord in chat.
I typed !Discord and it didn't do anything. Elite doesn't. Oh no, there we go. It was just a little delayed.
Streamlabs is definitely slower on YouTube. I've noticed.
Slow boy.
But
That's fair.
Lane, you got another one for us, or are you out?
That's all I got.
Okay.
I love the Ally, but I haven't spent as much time with it as I probably should have. So those are my
way
three
too much.
standouts.
Yeah, my last one that I'll give is also the first one that I ever played. When we first got our hands on the Ally, we were in Taiwan and it was a beta weekend for Diablo 4. I didn't have a PC with me. I'm a huge Blizzard fanboy, and I fired up Diablo 4, not expecting to play much of it all. Frankly, I didn't think of Diablo as a controller game, right? I was like, it's gonna be bad, but I'll try it out. Nope, got 60 FPS, 1080p, ran great, and honestly plays amazing with a controller. Had such a good time, and that probably has my most hours of all games on my Ally is Diablo 4. I think Deep Rock Galactic may overtake that just because Diablo 4 is like more of like a social thing for me. I'm going to play when my friends are playing kind of thing. I'm going to like dive into it more when there's other people I know playing the game. Whereas Deep Rock is just I'm killing time right now, and this is wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
We also have optimized settings for Diablo 4 on our site.
Ooh, yeah.
Family Fall says, got my X yesterday. Was a little nervous because people were saying that if you already have an Ally, it's not worth it to get the X. But as an OG Ally owner, it's totally worth it. X gonna give it to you. Damn straight.
X
Don't give it to you.
I said this in our Q&A. Like, for some people, it's gonna be worth. For some people, it's gonna be worth it. For some people, it isn't. For me, 100%. I normally don't upgrade like every generation for something like this, but I love the Ally X so much. The ergonomics are such a huge improvement that I find myself playing it even more than I did my original Ally. So for some people, yeah, it will definitely be worth upgrading. For some people, if you're happy with your Ally, that's cool too. Still an Ally.
I definitely do longer game sessions now. And yeah, no, it is a superior device in many ways.
Yep.
But the OG Ally is still great.
All right. That's all our games. Man, we're already an hour through this. Do we want to do a quick... I don't have that many sales to go through. I do at least want to mention this one article.
Okay.
If you want to do that.
Which article? You linked like 800.
I'm putting it in the chat. The ROG Azoth Extreme is now available to buy. We launched this at Computex, and we have a little guide that explains the difference between the Azoth Extreme and the original Azoth. It is a really nice keyboard. They upgraded the chassis. It's all like the top and bottom are both metal now. It's got this little door on the back with a switch that changes the typing feel. It kind of changes the gasket mount, makes it a little bit softer or a little bit firmer. The screen is now full color and has a touch. It's touch now, so you can like swipe through different stuff. It is just insane, the amount of keyboard enthusiast love that went into this keyboard.
I don't know that we've ever gone this all out, like nothing held back.
I don't think we have.
Like with any keyboard product.
Not on a peripheral.
Yeah, any peripheral. You're right. I don't think we've ever done anything that's this, like this is your last keyboard kind of mentality. Like you can just mod this and have this as your end game keyboard, and it's pretty dope.
I thought that about the original Azoth, and clearly I was wrong because now I have a new endgame keyboard. Hippotech gave it a great review. I actually didn't see that, but Hippotech he is like a serious keyboard reviewer, so that's awesome to hear.
Very cool.
I've been a little behind on my keyboard reviews because I've been so busy with Ally stuff, but yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That product is available to buy now. A bunch of different places, Amazon, Newegg. I'll drop the Amazon link in chat for US people, but if you go to, the ROG site in your region, you should find where to buy links, provided it's available in your region. Some of that stuff does vary region to region. So, yeah, really nice keyboard. Definitely recommend checking it out.
Do we want to jump through some quick sales, or no? We're going to skip them? What do you think?
We can. It's really quick. All the ROG Flow laptops are on sale. Just all three of them.
Yep.
X16.
$600 off.
$600 off.
That's a good deal.
That's Jake's favorite laptop.
It's a great laptop.
X13, $450 off. That's my favorite laptop. Actually, Lane's favorite laptop.
That's my favorite laptop.
G14 is my favorite, but this is my second favorite laptop. And then Z13 is Jake's other favorite.
That was my OG favorite because it's not a laptop. It's a everything.
It's technically not.
It's a best friend.
This version is the one with the Intel integrated graphics. It doesn't have the dedicated NVIDIA graphics, but for $999, that's a sweet price. And if you're planning on using it with the XG Mobile anyway, which is what it was kind of designed for, awesome, because you can get your graphics from the XG Mobile, and then your tablet is a tablet. I didn't even pick out any...
I mean, it's not that often that you can buy an ROG Strix display for under $200. $199 for a 1440p 180 hertz display. Like that's
and a brand new one. Like we just came out with that. Well, how is that already on sale for like 33% off?
Yeah, that's a phenomenal price for an ROG
It's a really
display.
good price for that display.
Like
because that display has like modern features too, right? Like it's got the extreme low motion blur sync. It's G-Sync compatible. It supports our display widget center. I don't remember if that one has the variable overdrive or not, but yeah, really. Oh, it's out of stock now. But keep an eye on that. It might
Oh,
come back into stock, and then you
okay.
can grab it.
That's not surprising.
There were
It's out of
so many
stock.
monitors on sale. I didn't want to pick out any specific ones. It's just insane. We have an OLED on. We have multiple OLED displays on sale.
Yeah.
All of those tough gaming monitors are good too if you're on a tighter budget. I've always said that the tough gaming monitors are like a little too good.
Yeah.
I feel like
they make it hard
they
for
were
ROG to
drinking
compete with
ROG's
the pricing.
milkshake for a while.
I agree with that.
But we kind of recently one up them with some of the new ROG Strix monitors, kind of like made the lineup make sense again, because then the tough ones dropped in price and the Strix one like had a few new features and stuff. So
Wow.
it's the lineup makes a little more sense now, I think.
This is the router
and
I
then-
use.
yeah.
$130 off. I've seen it at 100 off. I've never seen it at 130 off. Nice. Yeah. I mean, this thing is a beast. It reaches my garden at the back of my property. I have an acre of land. It reaches the back of my property. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to reach that far, but it does. It's amazing.
It's a space grab. It's supposed to do that.
It's a space crab. It's supposed to conquer the world. And then there's some game stuff, but I think we can probably skip the game stuff today. Because
Yeah, there's not a lot of game stuff
Yeah.
today, so that's totally fine. Although the only news was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 now on Game Pass. It's happening. Insert the GIF. It's happening. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But a lot of the other new game stuff this month was last week. So nothing huge this week. Yeah, that was a longer show. But guys, this is what you can expect if you watch live. If you watch live, we could do what's new on shelf, what's on sale. We talk about some of the games that are on sale this week, along with our main topic and apparently tangents about cats. And I don't know, did you talk about barbecue smoking? I forget.
That was
I don't
before the
remember what
stream.
was on
That
the
was
show and
before
what
the
was
stream.
before the stream. Well,
Sorry.
Lane got a new smoker and he's been talking about it for 2 days. So maybe if you come back next time, you'll see Lane talk about his smoker.
I was gifted a Pit Boss for free, so I am going to try to smoke things. First up was pulled pork. I made 5 pounds of it. It looks pretty good. We're going to have it for dinner in about an hour. I'm stoked.
I'm real hungry just thinking about that.
But pro tip for those of you who haven't smoked before, take the hour
smoked
estimate
meats. Smoked meats.
very seriously.
Yeah, this always sounds bad when you. I'm gonna smoke so much stuff. Sorry,
It really was.
What was your tip?
It really was a 12-hour cook. Like we started at 10 in the morning and we were done at 10 at night. So that you just
That's
got to
too
be
late.
committed to the amount of time.
That's my bedtime.
So
I
I've-
know.
I've
It
got
was my
a-
bedtime too.
I've got a Weber charcoal grill, right? And I want to get this thing that's called a Vortex. It's a steel piece that kind of goes on the bottom rack that you put in the center, and you take all of your coals in the chimney and you dump them in the Vortex. So it keeps all of the heat in the center. At that point, you actually line all of your meats on the outside ring, right? So the heat's centered around that. And you put cherry or whatever kind of wood you want to use on the top rack on the flame, and then you kind of rotate the holes on the top lid around, and you can just use it as a smoker that way. So I've been wanting to experiment with that instead of buying. I don't have a big shed or anything, right? I don't have room for a smoker if I wanted one. So that sounds like a fun thing, because smoking meat sounds like a great time. Like that's like the ultimate dad activity, like sit in the backyard and just smoke meat. It's like, I'm like, let's do it. But another thing that I want to do is I want to give away 2 $20 vouchers to gamesplendid.com.
I forgot about the giveaway.
Yep, we're going to drop 2 right now. So we're going to give you guys a 1-minute entry window. Type !cats in chat, all caps, !cats to enter the giveaway. You have about a minute to enter.
Raptor Lord asks, will there be a stream tomorrow? What are you streaming tomorrow, Jake?
I think we're just going to jam games in the Ally, unless Lane wants to play Remnant. I'll throw that at you live on stream. If you're available to play Remnant, that boss is waiting for us.
We've got that boss. We've got things to turn in if we want to unlock the new character. I think we should play some Remnant.
Okay. It'll be a Remnant 2 stream tomorrow then. More Ally streams next week. We got a couple Ally streams in already this week, so I don't feel too bad, even though the Ally X is new and fresh. And got to get this boy.
So exciting.
Look at
There are
it.
only so
It's
many
alive.
days in a row you can play
It's
Deep
alive.
Rock Galactic Survivor.
Yeah, my posture does. I need to really figure out a good way to stream from the couch too. Streaming in the chair, I always 2 hours is my limit, and I'm always like just because I get the mic here, and I'm trying to keep the vent from pointing at the microphone, and there's all these little things I'm doing that not my favorite to do every day. But if I can figure out how to do it from the couch, it'll be glorious. It'll be the best thing ever. Okay, entries are closed. You can no longer enter the raffle, says the bot. We are going to draw 2 winners. The way that these raffles work is we actually need you guys to provide a Discord username to claim your win, because we award all prizes via Discord about 1 week after this. These are Games Planet vouchers. They're $20 like wallet vouchers. So you basically apply the voucher to your account and you can then spend it later. You must redeem the voucher before the year is over, because these vouchers expire. But once you've added the money to your account, it stays. Just redeem it immediately, right? Go to your account, redeem it, and be done with it. Otherwise, it might expire. Anyways, we are going to draw 2 winners now. 1, it is Hideo Konsima. I love it. I love it. That's
Something about this name sounds familiar.
If you are here, please type in chat to claim your win and provide us with your Discord username. I can't wait to play Metal Gear Solid 8. Zone of the Enders 3 would be great if you could drop that. I would love that very much.
I believe you mean Zone of the Benders.
Oh,
you have to
you're
have
right,
one
you're right.
letter difference.
Zone of the Lenders. It's a banking game.
Hey, you know, someone can make it good. Who would have ever thought Papers, Please would be as popular as it was?
Metal Gear.
To set up
I
your
used to
device
actually be
using a
pretty good
screen
at
reader, turn on narrator by
the
pressing
snake
Windows plus
We need a
Control plus
Discord
Enter.
username.
For more accessibility
Thanks, say thanks,
features,
guys.
press
Gotta give us
Windows
a
plus
place.
U, or
Discord
select the
username, 'cause
accessibility
Hideo
icon in the
Kojima.
bottom corner.
Otherwise, we don't know how to.
Okay,
your code.
there we go. There we go. I will add this.
And come join our Discord.
Yes, make sure you
It's a
join
cool
our
place to
Discord.
be.
Well, not
All
only
the
that,
cool
not
kids
only
are
that,
doing it.
but in fact, there's a guy that won a game key for Deep Rock Galactic that hasn't joined our Discord. I actually cannot find you. I can't actually search you and find you and whisper you unless we share a server in common. So that's why I tell everybody, you must, if you want to actually win, you actually have to join our Discord server, because otherwise I can't even contact you. So until that is done, make sure you're in our server. It's actually like, if you want to win free stuff, you gotta be there. And I'm not even just trying to like force you into our server. That's just a requirement for Discord search terms.
But it is what all the cool kids are doing. All the cool kids are smoking meat and hanging out in the ROG Discord server. So,
And talking about smoked meat in the RG Discord server. Fat
Yeah.
docs.
Speaking
Fat
of
docs.
smoked meats, okay.
someone
oh,
asked for a
sorry.
picture. There you go.
There's before
I
I,
see
pulled
your
it.
window.
Sorry, the glare there. All right, and there's me looking really happy with myself at about 10 o'clock.
Fat docs. Give us that Discord. I believe in you. You can do it.
Are they here? Wait, did we get one?
I'm waiting. Same name. Okay. Easy peasy. I like that.
I thought he was saying it's the same name as the first guy who won, and I was like, oh, so you're multi-accounting. Get him out of here.
Yeah,
But no, I get
which
it
we
now. I
promptly
get it.
banned. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that completes our giveaway. Congratulations to the 2 winners. We will have more giveaways tomorrow. We'll be giving away, I think we'll just be giving away more vouchers tomorrow. Although it's been a
Games Planet.
yeah, Games Planet vouchers. Just money towards the games you want to play.
I'm a enter. I gotta buy some new games. Just kidding. I can't win.
You cannot win. You can enter. You just can't win.
That's true. It's not as fun when it's not marbles though. I just let other people.
I
enter.
know. I miss marbles. I should check in and see what they're doing. It's been a while. It's been months.
You should have a stream that's just you playing marbles, just for 3 hours.
I've debated doing that, where I just go into my old commentator mode and I just commentate marbles and stream matches for maybe
So-
like an hour block, right? Just for nostalgia.
It would be fun. I told Jake this, Lane. I have a really good idea for when Jake is on paternity leave and I have to do some of the streaming. I'm gonna have one day that's just stream roulette, where I take all of the ridiculous games that I've like gotten for free or whatever over the years, like Maneater with just like GTA with sharks or some nonsense.
That's
Or,
how I
like,
described it.
Power
To
Wash Simulator. So like all of these like games that like Goat Simulator 3, right? Like all these games like they're kind of silly, but like I want to try, but like haven't actually done. And just like Wheel of Fortune, just like pick me a game and we're gonna play it on the Ally on stream and see what happens. And so I think I'm gonna do that when Jake's on paternity leave. Guys, subscribe to see me make
that sounds
fool of
great.
myself.
The funniest part about me describing Maneater as GTA with sharks is like, I think that's accurate, but I don't know. But now Whitson's
It
hopes
could
are
be
like
completely
his
wrong.
hopes are so high. I've never played the game, but that's
It's actually just sharks playing poker. Who knew?
Oh, I'd play that.
It's actually it's Balatro with sharks.
All right, guys. Oh, Balatro, that's the game I bought too that I haven't played yet. We are going to wrap it there, guys. Good bantering and chatting about video games. Lane and I will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific to play some Remnant 2. We are at like the last boss. Maybe we go and warm up on some other stuff before we continue our attempts on him because he was kicking our butts. When we last fought him, we did not get him below 50%. He was definitely a challenge, but that's fun. That's good content. Remnant 2 is like a Souls-like third-person shooter. Very fun game. Is it first person or third person? Third. Okay, I was right. For a second, I was doubting myself because I tend to prefer first person dramatically, but I love that game dearly. Anyways, guys, good chat. Check all those guides out. If you guys are just getting your Ally X in, congratulations. Welcome to the family. Until next time, GG's. We'll see you later.
GG's.
GG's.